Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here's your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience, episode number 148. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. Think about this: speaker, mentor, startup consultant, sharpshooter for problem solving. Our guest is known as the pioneer of serial social entrepreneurship and an early stage startup advisor. Welcome, Darrel Frater. How are you?
I'm great. How are you today?
I am wonderful. You know what? I have given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the blanks and share with our audience what you'd like us to know about you and your company?
Gladly. Thank you for having me. So just to start, I'm a purebred entrepreneur. I am a co-founder of a startup called Prom Social, where it's a social networking app for teens to plan for prom. Our mission is to make prom fun, safe, and affordable for all students through our mobile app. I also advise early stage startups through my company, Sharpshooters Global Startup Advisory LLC, where I have clients that run their own startups, and I serve as an advisor where I help them in core areas such as fundraising, sales and marketing, and business development. I also am an MBA student at the College of New Jersey, where I study strategy, innovation, and leadership. And I also have other businesses as well. Me and my father, we do custom kitchen and bath cabinets, have real estate property, and do construction with my father. So I'm very busy, all entrepreneurship, and I love every minute of it.
That is awesome. Now, Darrel, share this with me. When you talk about your latest venture, I believe it's the Prom Social. Is that that's the app? And I was just reading a notice that came across regarding some more strict requirements that YouTube and some of the other social medias platforms are doing to secure our young ones from everything that's happening on the internet. Could you share with us the impact, if it has any impact with you dealing with your app, with younger people taking or using your app?
Yeah, it's always a concern when it comes to mobile apps and the internet and users, especially when they're underage, being safe on the platform. That's one of our key pillars at Prom Social, making prom fun, safe, and affordable. So we always take measures to make sure that our users are safe, that they're connecting and being validated or verified through different channels that we use to verify our users, to make sure everyone that's on there should be on there, and that they're not getting into trouble in ways that we can or cannot control. So we always try to make sure that safety is a top priority for our students, especially since they're mostly in high school, and we want to make sure that we create an environment that's going to be a place for them to be safe and do the things that we want them to do on the app, which is plan for prom and make sure that their prom is a memorable experience, and we're providing them with the resources and the opportunity to really enjoy prom.
And what about parents that they're concerned about, like the safety, of course, of their kids for prom night or whatever? Are they able to be on the app to kind of track what their kid is doing? Just tell us more about the app. Maybe that's not the function of the app.
Yeah, so the app is open for download for anyone. So we do have parents that are on the app as well. And contrary to what we actually thought in the beginning of starting this app, parents are actually very involved with their kids' prom planning process. So a lot of the parents are having just as much as fun planning the different things for their kids in terms of finding the limo and planning the outfit and even, doing the shopping with their dates and such like that. So parents are really usually champions and assisting their kids with their prom night. So a lot of the times we see that parents are enjoying the app just as much as the students.
Darrel, talk about your why. And I don't know if you can wrap this up in a really pretty package. I don't know, when I speak about your why, you have so many ventures going on in terms of, you were saying you're a pure breed-blooded entrepreneur. Why do you do what you do? I don't know if you want to focus on just the prom app or if you want to talk specifically about your whole serial entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, so it pretty much goes back to my upbringing. My father came to this country when he was 16 years old from Jamaica, and he has always been an entrepreneur. He worked on a farm picking apples for the first 6 months of him being in this country. But after that, he went off to start his own construction business and has been an entrepreneur for ever since. And just watching him growing up as an entrepreneur, helping him in his construction business and helping him with other endeavors, I was able to really learn and appreciate and see the opportunities that entrepreneurship and starting your own business have. And it's something that I admired and also noticed how much of a big impact that you can have in society and in your life and in lives of others. So it's something that I've noticed could be a real game changer in society where you can use entrepreneurship to build wealth for yourself, but you can also have a lot of impact on other people's lives through entrepreneurship. Because in my eyes and just in general, entrepreneurship is really aligned with problem solving. And if you can use business to solve complex problems in this world, you can benefit a lot of people financially, economically, socially, in so many different other ways.
And talk about your journey becoming an entrepreneur. You had mentioned that you're currently in your MBA program. So are you full time in your endeavor?
I like to say, yeah, I'm full time in all my endeavors. I am a hard worker, so I really try to optimize my time as much as possible so I can get the most done. Aside from the things I do with school and my startups, I really try to budget my time to get everything done. And I work 24/7 in my eyes, and it's just something I'm really passionate about. I do it and I love to do it, so it doesn't feel like work. And it just feels like I'm really doing all the things I can do to get to that level of success as fast as possible.
How do you define success?
I think success is defined internally by the person, and there's no one general definition for it. But for me personally, success is being able to live a lifestyle where you're happy and you're enjoying the things in life that make you happy, per se. And for me specifically, that's going to be being able to take care of my parents and allow them to retire and to live a happy life and really just give back to them all the things that they deserve because they did a wonderful job raising me and my siblings, and I believe I owe it to them to work hard to make sure that they can enjoy life. And that's my vision of success. And then beyond that, beyond the dedication I have to my parents, just being able to help society and help the world through entrepreneurship. My goal in life is to play a major role in closing the racial wealth gap because there's a big disparity with the income levels of people of color versus other demographics. And I believe that with entrepreneurship and educating people on the opportunities of entrepreneurship and specifically tech startups, I think there is an opportunity for us to really close that gap through education and through investing.
Darrel, I knew that it was a reason why you and I connected because we have kindred spirits, and that's the whole reason why Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast is existing, is because of the wealth gap in our communities. Exactly what you said. There are so many gaps, and it isn't about doom or gloom, but it's about facing the reality, like we talked about, solving the problems. And so if a Black person start a business, if they make $50,000 a year, a Caucasian woman will make $152,000. Caucasian male will make $262,000. So it's so many gaps from education to technology to wealth. And so you and I are on the same page. That is my mission, is to eradicate or to close up some of those gaps. And I believe entrepreneurship is the key, or what we are focusing on.
I agree 100%.
Besides the gaps, what problem exists in the world today that you'd like to solve?
Wow, there are a lot of problems. It's hard to identify another problem because closing that gap is my primary focus. And I will do that through educating others on entrepreneurship and investing in startups. And one way I'm going to do that is by creating a VC fund where I'm going to be able to include all people of all demographics, of all backgrounds, to invest in early stage startups through Obama's Title III of the Jobs Act, where anyone can invest in early stage startups through different equity crowdfunding platforms. So that is my personal problem that I want to solve. Other problems exist that I would like to see solved, include with health and eradicating certain diseases, cancer and HIV/AIDS. It's just some of those things that have impacted my life significantly. So if there can be progress with the helping of those two diseases, I would definitely support in terms of funding for research and support for those that are living with the diseases and disorders.
Advice, Darrel, you wish you'd followed.
If I had to go back in time and tell myself advice today, I would say start as early as possible. So one of my passions is to advise youth, and especially at the high school age and sometimes even younger, just to get them exposed to certain things as early as possible. Because once that exposure starts, you project yourself on a path that's going to be very beneficial to your future. And the earlier you get that exposure, the further along you get and kind of accelerate that growth.
What are you most grateful for now in your life, Darrel?
I would say my parents. I believe they really did a good job raising me and my siblings, and I just owe them the world.
What book would you recommend and why?
I would recommend, probably a startup book, because I read so many startup books. Let's see, I can't really think of one off the top of my head, but I would also recommend a lot of podcasts as well as books. So I listen to a lot of audiobooks and I listen to a lot of podcasts. But one that has really stood out to me, I would say, actually, I'm going to say one that I haven't listened to or read yet, but it's on my book and it's on my book list. I'm very excited to read it next. It's Radical Candor. I hear a lot of good stuff about that book, and it's next on my book list. So I'm going to listen to that. I have it downloaded already on my Audible, and Radical Candor is what's next on my list.
What is the one thing that we can do right now to support your business?
Well, I have multiple businesses, and I would say right now the best way to support my business, Prom Social, would be if you know a teen that is in high school or is going to prom anytime soon, have them download the app, promsocial.com. If you are someone that is interested in learning about investing, Prom Social is actually running an equity crowdfunding campaign where you can actually be an investor in our startup. You go to wefunder.com/promsocial and you can actually invest and become an owner of Prom Social. And it's important because I believe that investing in early stage startups is one of the ways that I'm going to promote closing that racial wealth gap. And I believe that if you listen to this and you have idea or thought that you want to build wealth through investing, you should definitely take a look at my startup and other startups out there on these various platforms such as WeFunder, Republic, Start Engine. There are a lot of different ways where anybody can be investors, not just the super rich. And that's the game changer that Title III of the Jobs Act has allowed for us to happen and given this opportunity for everyone. So if you're interested in investing in Prom Social, go to wefunder.com/promsocial.
Speaking of investing, how did you finance your businesses?
There's a strategy called bootstrapping. So bootstrapping is when you pretty much are using the profits from your own business to reinvest, or you're using profits from your job or your work to fund the company. And that's what we've pretty much did. Me and my team, we have been self-funding the business, and we finally are raising our first round of funding through WeFunder. But finding that early capital is one of the biggest challenges for minority founders. And that is one reason why I'm going to start a VC firm to combat that issue, to give minority founders the capital they need to start their ventures. But that's something that is always a challenge, and to find innovative ways to find the money and to make it happen and create a business model where you're not reliant on investment opportunities, where you can fund yourself. That's one of the best ways you can grow your business.
We can learn from successful entrepreneurs or brands just like you. Darrel, tell us a brand or a business that is dominating, that you admire, and why.
This one might be kind of controversial, but I, as a mobile app startup founder, I admire TikTok. Even though it is a Chinese-owned company, if you look at the fine detail that they put into their app, to allow it to be very addictive in a sense and to be very seamless to learn how to use and seamless to be onboarded, I can see why they're having such viral growth. And it's because they took a lot of time and a lot of detail in their iterations and improving the app's interface and accessibility and ease to use and shareability. They really understand human behavior. They understand how people work and what gets people excited and get people to share their content. And they engineered it in a way where users want to use TikTok, they want to share TikTok with their friends, and they want to be on it as much as possible. So I study them, and I really try to look at the fine details of how they use human behavior to understand what's going to make people really love their product. And that's the same type of detail that I'm putting in Prom Social.
And with TikTok, what is the age on that?
I actually don't know the minimum age on that. I can look that up, but I'm not exactly sure. I just know that it's younger demographic is what usually is on TikTok. So I would say
right. And the reason, not to cut you off, sorry about that, because I thought it was more like a Gen Z product, or it could be millennials too. I have heard, and I haven't. That's something that I will definitely look more into. I like that.
I would definitely say the demographics on the app is mostly Gen Z and millennial, but you can even start seeing older generations on the platform as well. I know Will Smith just recently made a page, and he's grown viral on TikTok. So people are starting to see that it's a growing platform, and if you are someone that's looking to be able to connect, especially with the younger demographic, it might be a good avenue to check out if you want to grow your platform or grow your presence online.
That's a huge value bomb. Thanks for that. What is your biggest achievement so far in your business, Darrel?
Biggest achievement, I would say right now in Prom Social, the biggest achievement would be we just hit the $50,000 mark in our crowdfunding campaign. So we're happy. We're halfway there of our goal. Our goal is to reach 100K. And we're halfway there, and we got there in about a month. So hopefully we can close out the round by mid-December. And I'm in charge of growth and marketing. So we're almost at the 5,000 download range, where we have 5,000 people download the app. When I joined the company in January of this year, we only had 400 downloads. So we're growing. And as prom season gets closer, we see the download rate increase dramatically. And I'm just excited to see where we'll be at the end of prom season. I do projections on the downloads and how much we spend on marketing, and I'm anticipating we should be at least at 20,000 downloads by May of next year. So I'm pushing hard to exceed that goal. I'm really confident that we're going to be able to hit it, especially with the support from our investors on our campaign. So we're excited about that, and teams are giving us good feedback about our app, and we're just trying to improve it every single day and being able to help them in our goal to make prom fun, safe, and affordable.
What is a technology tool or a technology platform that is a must-have for you in managing your business day to day?
I would say Trello. And Trello is a platform where you can put tasks and assignments on a board and allows you to stay organized with the different tasks that need to be updated within your organization. So between my co-founders and myself and our developers, we use Trello all the time to stay organized on what different enhancements and defects need to be fixed, as well as updates in the business model and figuring out our strategy for growth.
If someone wrote a book about you today, what would we learn about you that we cannot find on social media?
You would probably learn about how much of a nerd I am for entrepreneurship and how I'm really obsessed with business and entrepreneurship and also human behavior. I really believe that if you understand how people work and if you understand how you can use business to solve their problems, you can really be able to build something that's going to be helpful for the world, helpful for individuals, but you're also going to be able to build something that's going to bring you a lot of success in your personal life. So you'll just learn those two things about me. Just I'm obsessed with learning and obsessed with learning about specifically business and human behavior.
And what is your best advice to learn about human behavior?
It would just simply be watching people and just being very attentive when you're looking to understand how people work. I wrote an article on LinkedIn last year And it's pretty much an outline of how I think and how I make decisions. And I developed it based on my response to learning about human behavior and how I work internally. And it's like, in order to make the best decisions in life, you use all your body parts or senses to be able to make the best decisions. And it goes with starting with listening and hearing. So when you hear or listen to something or you see something, use your eyes and your ears to understand what's going on. Then you use your brain and your heart to process that information. And then you use your body parts and your hands and your voice to be able to act on those things that you've learned and processed. And if you take those steps, from taking in that information to processing it and then acting on it in that specific order, you'll be able to make good decisions or better decisions because you've taken the time to really understand what's going on and thinking about it before you act.
Darrel, artificial intelligence, AI, play a big role in terms of human behavior. What is your thought about that whole process and that technology?
I think AI is a very important tool that's going to help humans a lot in the future and today, just because it enables us to do things that are too advanced for us to use or to do with our own brains per se. And it's going to help a lot with data analytics and decision making at scale. So I'm an advocate of data and AI. And I think that if you can figure out how to use and enable AI in your business in a smart way that's going to enhance your processes, you can figure out how to use it as a tool as opposed to being afraid of the technology and using it as a crutch.
What is the biggest challenge of being an entrepreneur?
The biggest challenge would be to have faith. I think those that want to be entrepreneurial and go into it are reluctant to go into it. They have a hard time having faith that everything will work out. But if you truthfully work your hardest and have faith in everything else and not allow the things that don't look perfect to deter you from continuing your journey, you will do perfectly fine and you will be okay. Just work your hardest, have faith, and everything else will take care of itself. But you can only do your very best. And if you're not doing your very best, then you're doing yourself a disservice and you will not be able to reach the maximum potential that you deserve. So just work hard and have faith. And if it's out of your control, don't worry about it. Just focus on the things that you can control. And that's one of the biggest issues or problems I see in entrepreneurs. And once they get over that hump and lean into faith, they will see more success.
Darrel, someone's listening to this podcast interview and they're saying, wow, I want to develop an app. Can you take us through the process if someone is interested in developing an app? What are some steps that they should do?
So when it comes to developing an app and developing any business in general, start with figuring out what problem you want to build or you want to solve. Once you figure out the problem, figure out who are you solving the problem for. Then after you figure that out, you figure out what avenue are you going to solve the problem. That's when you decide if you're going to choose to solve it via an app or not. So think about the problem before you think about, oh, I just want to start an app. And then once you figure out who that problem is servicing, and if it's a big enough problem for you to solve and solve it for a meaningful amount of people, then you could develop a business model around, is your app going to service a population and solve a problem that they need to be solved and that you can monetize? So, because it's not cheap to start an app, but if you can figure out a business model that works and then de-risk it by testing it out in a cheap way in terms of like an MVP, which is a minimum viable product, you can figure out a way that you can test your app concept without building a full app. And there's various ways to do that. Like I said, I advise startups, so a lot of my customers are looking to start apps and products like that. So if you're looking for assistance or need advice on that, you can reach out to me via my website, darrelfrater.com, and I can set up some time to speak with you.
Thank you for that. Darrel, what have you not done in life that you dream about often?
Travel some more. I think that I've traveled to maybe 4 countries so far, but I think I need to do much more traveling, especially once I hit a point in my entrepreneurial journey where I can kind of take a more laid back approach. Right now, I'm in head down, working hard mode. So I don't think I'm going to be vacationing and traveling at this time, but I want to definitely in the future be able to do more traveling and exposing myself to different things. Because going back to what I said earlier, exposure is an amazing way to expand your mind and to learn how to innovate. And that exposure can really be life changing. So definitely want to get more exposure and go out and travel some more.
What can you do daily to be better?
Learn. If you figure out a mechanism to learn new things as often as possible, you will be better at anything that you're focusing on. So for me, the way I learn every single day and as often as possible is by finding audiobooks and podcasts in my genre of things I'm trying to learn. And I've learned so much from just consuming that kind of content on a daily basis. And then on top of that, I take notes on the things that I'm learning. And I have a Google Keep app where you just take notes and I just keep everything organized in terms of what I need to go back to and refer to when I find good content that I can use to solve a problem in other things. So just finding a mechanism where you can continuously learn as often as possible. And for me, I'm very busy with a very busy schedule. So podcasts and audiobooks allow me to learn passively, where I'm doing things like driving or working on certain projects, and I can listen and learn while I'm doing other things.
And Darrel, you mentioned that you are wearing so many hats and you're extremely busy. How do you stay healthy?
By keeping health in mind, I know that in order for me to be successful and happy, I have to be able to enjoy it from a health perspective. So I make sure that I eat healthy. I don't go to the gym as often as I would, but I do push-ups and crunches and things at home to make sure I'm keeping health a focus in my journey. Because what's success if you can't enjoy it from a health perspective? If you're unable to function and live a healthy lifestyle, you can have all the money in the world, but you won't be able to enjoy it because you're not healthy. So that's something that I keep in the back of my mind at all times. How can I stay healthy as I grow and build in my entrepreneurial journey?
And what is your favorite healthy food or meal?
I would say just home cooked meals. My mother is an excellent cook, a lot of Jamaican cuisine, and we make sure that it's healthy and it's not too fattening and not too seasoned. And it's a good balance of a food that tastes good, but also is going to take care of you in terms of health.
And what do you do when you hit that bump in the road? How do you reset and adjust?
I think self-reflection and going back to the things that you were doing that helped you reach success or you've seen progress in, because many times you deviate from those things that you were doing that got you to some level of success. And when you just hit that reset button and go back to it, you will be able to go back to the things that are making you do well. So for me, I've noticed like sometimes I'll drift off and I won't be listening to my podcasts and my audiobooks. And then I'll drift away and not have that series of great ideas that I develop. So then I'll just kind of take a step back and continue to consume and put myself around good content and also good people through networking that keeps me sharp and keeps me coming up with new innovative ideas.
What milestone do you want to accomplish for your business over the next couple of years?
For this one, I'm going to speak into the future. And for the venture capital firm that I want to start, I'm going to have a strong emphasis in creating wealth amongst people of color. And I have a 10-year goal once I start this VC firm to make 100 people of color into millionaires through giving them the opportunity of investing in the startups that I manage. And that is a goal that I'm very excited about because I think that is very possible with the plans that we have for our VC firm. And I think that by understanding the opportunities in investing in early stage startups and having the right people curating those deals and opportunities for people of color, it will reduce the risk for them and allow us to build wealth together and as a unit and to work together to achieve the common goals.
And Darrel, what was that aha moment that you knew that you were onto something and that your business idea was going to be successful?
I would say 2 years ago, I had an epiphany. I had an aha moment where I understood the power of relationships. And once I understood that, it was a game changer. And I shift my focus in terms of how I thought about business. And I thought of everything through a relationship perspective. And my new motto became that relationships are the single most important thing in the world. And I truthfully believe that if you focus your energy on building and strengthening relationships, everything else will follow. And that's going to be the foundation of your success. So if you think of things in a relationship building manner and focus on strengthening those relationships in your business, in your personal life, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with God and religion, I think that you will have a strong foundation of how you're going to build your success.
Talk about the most memorable moment in life or business.
That's a hard one because I live day by day and I live thinking about tomorrow and today. So that's very hard. But I would say the most memorable moment would be, I'm thinking about, I proposed to my fiance last year and we had a great time at her birthday party where I proposed. And I would say that's the most memorable because I had my family, my friends, and my fiance there, and it was a big surprise. So that was a very happy and exciting moment for me.
Congratulations. So when is the wedding?
Still working on that.
That's awesome.
So yeah, hoping for sometime next year, but still working, still planning. And she's in her PhD program and I'm in my MBA program. We're both very busy, but we're definitely looking towards to setting that wedding date.
And she said yes?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. And was she completely surprised?
I believe so. Yeah, I think she was surprised. I did a good job really keeping everything low key. And I don't think she had any clue.
That is awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I'll show you the pictures. I got a whole album of pictures I'll show you.
I love when individuals have these like amazing moments and these experiences around an event. So thanks for sharing that. Darrel, what drives you every day to continue doing what you do?
Helping others and having an impact in this world.
And what would you have done differently from starting your company?
I would say starting as early as possible.
If you conducted this interview, what is the one question that you would ask yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it also.
That's an interesting question. I never got that one before. I would say, what is one piece of advice that you would give your listeners? And I would answer that question being to understand yourself and really be very self-aware of who you are as a person. And as you learn more about yourself, you understand the things that make you happy and you're able to work towards those things. And if you use that as your basis for how you define success, you will be happy in your pursuit to success because it's a journey that you'll be happy to work on as opposed to struggling and stressing out how to reach success. You'll be happy in the moment as you reaching that level of success that you wish to attain. So having that self-awareness is very important. And if you know yourself, you're able to make those decisions that are going to keep you happy in life.
Darrel, let's switch gears for a moment. Talk about the worst moment in business and what was your takeaway?
So I think my worst moment in business had to be a long time ago in my first business that I ever operated, which was a nonprofit called the Urban Students Bridge to Success. We had mentoring programs that we operated at 2 high schools locally here in Trenton, New Jersey. And I would say the worst moment was when we had to shut down one of our programs because I would say poor management and just not having a full control over my own program. So we had a program where we mentored girls and boys. In the boys program we've been doing for years, but we just started the girl program and we recruited some girl mentors from TCNJ, the College of New Jersey, where I went. And after a couple of months of operating the program, at first I had a style where I was very hands-on and very, I would call it micromanaging of my mentors. And then I shifted because I was getting feedback from them and my team. I shifted to more of a laid back and I gave them a lot of space in terms of how I managed my program. But somewhere it just went wrong and the students in the female program decided that they want to quit the program and we had to shut down the program. And that was a very early lesson that I learned as a 20-year-old guy starting a business, that you have to know how to work with your employees and trust them, give them space, but at the same time still have that balance where you're understanding that operations that are going on in your business. Because if you don't, things can go certain ways and you don't have much control over it. Or you can have so much control that you're restricting your employees to innovate and to be able to be leaders in their own right.
What, if anything, would make you stop?
I don't think anything could make me stop. I would have to physically be harmed or injured and disabled, but I cannot stop. And I don't think that anything could stop me at this point.
Darrel, we've come to the part of our interview. It's called Fun Facts Lightning Round. And I'm going to ask you a series of questions and I'd like you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Fun Facts Lightning Round?
Let's do it.
The last movie you saw?
I rewatch Rush Hour 2 all the time.
You relax doing what?
Listening to podcasts.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
I like Kanye West.
Your favorite dance song?
I don't have one right now.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
I would say rice.
Your favorite month?
I would say either December or October.
Hit the gym or hit the couch?
I want to say gym, but my reality is couch.
Thanks for your honesty. Darrel, thank you for joining us, but before we let you go, why don't you share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you and your social media handles and how they can do business and support your businesses?
Thank you. The best way to reach me is from my website, darrelfrater.com. That's DarrelFrater.com. All of my social links are right there at the top of my website, and I'm active on pretty much all my social networks. The best way to support me is to do your research on startups and start investing. I really believe that by investing in startups, there's a huge opportunity for you to gain and learn a lot about wealth and generating wealth. If you're interested in investing in my startup, Prom Social, you can go to wefunder.com/promsocial. And I would love to chat with you all. And if you have any questions that you have for me or anything you want me to elaborate that we had in this conversation, I'll gladly talk to you. So I would love to hear from you.
Thank you, Darrel. That is a wrap.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.